Hello everyone, welcome to Shreya's newsletter and the podcast, our show called Minimalist Techie. I appreciate you being here so we can connect weekly on interesting topics. If you're new here, just add your email ID to my shreyasgaripati.substack.com. This is my newsletter so that you can directly get it into your inbox. Do subscribe to our show called Minimalist Techie or over the Apple Podcast, Spotify, or YouTube podcast or wherever, or you can directly come to this particular website, sridhargaripadi.substack.com, or on over the email also. You can just what you receive, you can just subscribe to my website directly, or you can directly. The episode is free. You can listen it on the website too. So this weekly newsletter is mostly about the articles, books, videos, etc. I read or watch, or my views on a different topics which revolves around my head during the week. So today's topic is little powerful and it's little emotional. This is something which is related to every immigrant, H1 expats, etc. and all that. So today's topic, let me just introduce it. It is moving abroad, the courage nobody talks about. It took a while for me to write about it, over a week. I think when I started this particular podcast, one of my friend Teja Polaki, and I think I remember him multiple times because almost like from India to Malaysia, Malaysia to US to right now in Ireland, four different countries he is right now. Right, for me just India and USA, but I think moving is not that easy at all. But definitely moving to a completely different country, you require a lot of courage actually. I think that's the guy who always came to my mind when I was writing all these bullet points to what I want to talk about it today. See, when people talk about moving to another country, they usually talk about opportunity, like better salaries, a better lifestyle, or a better future. And yes, those things can be true. But what people don't talk about enough is the emotional cost of that particular decision. See, moving to another country definitely opens the doors, but don't let anyone tell you it's easy. It's not just a simple visa stamp, it's not just a flight ticket, it's a psychological shift. It's an identity shift of who you are. It's a quiet reinvention of who you are as a person. And that entire process, yes, it is beautiful, but it is also lonely to begin with. Even you coming alone as a bachelor, or if you're coming along with your family too, initial 1 to 2 years is definitely feels lonely unless you completely adapt to the existing new culture and your surroundings, and you start living in the new country's ecosystem. Let's talk about the illusion of opportunity. See, when you move abroad, especially to the places like United States, Canada, Australia, UK, right? Everyone everyone back home thinks that you have made it actually. If you're working abroad, everyone in your family thinks, oh, he is making money in dollars, he's pretty rich. No, they see the currency difference, they see the skyline pictures once in a while you post it on your Facebook or Instagram, they see the LinkedIn promotions. What they don't see is the uncertainty when you very first time you land in a different country, when you being working in abroad, the fear of losing a job when you're working in a different country on a work permit. They don't see a visa stress, they don't see a social isolation which happens in a completely different country, the feeling of being and living an invisible life. There are more opportunities from the jobs perspective, yes, but there is also a less stability in the beginning actually. You don't have a family backup, you don't have a deep rooted networks of your relatives, friends in the same area, uh, or in my case, there's not even a single relative to begin with when I came here in my bloodline in abroad, and also especially in US. You don't have a history in that particular place. See, back home, people know your story. Abroad, you are just another name in a system, and most of the people can't pronounce your name too. And that's funnier, right? And that hits harder than most people actually expect. So yes, when you move abroad, we need to talk about two different things, which is your exposure to the freedom versus your fight against the isolation. There is something powerful about moving abroad. You feel very free. You can actually reinvent yourself. You can change your careers. You can explore new cultures. You can build your life from scratch. Ignore what happened back home in your country. You can completely rebuild your life from scratch. But freedom has a shadow side. Sometimes the freedom feels like an isolation. You realize nobody knows who you are in the school. Nobody knows your childhood stories. Nobody knows your family history. You could disappear for weeks and weeks and nobody would notice. That silence can be loud, and it makes you question yourself. Did I do the right thing? Was it worth leaving everything familiar back home? See, the doubt is pretty much normal, and this is what I'm talking is just the isolation piece of it, right? There are people who go through the financial stress also when they move from a developing country to a completely developed country, right? If the current job at their current newly moved country doesn't match with their expectations, doesn't match with the standard of the living, right? They don't have enough savings back in the home in order to back them up for the initial 6 months to 1 year. So the doubt is pretty much normal. Every immigrant actually goes through it. So the things which you quietly miss, this is something which we always make a fun of, like every H1B guy talking about మా దేవర కథ చెప్తాను విను అని ఏదో 100 బాధ చెప్పినట్టు. సో ద థింగ్స్ యూ క్వైట్లీ మిస్, లైక్ యూ విల్ మిస్ బర్త్డేస్, you will miss Sunday dinners, you will miss weddings, you will miss festivals, you will miss sitting with the family and doing absolutely nothing or just chatting and hanging around or gossiping. And here is the thing, you won't just miss certain events, you will miss the feeling of being known, you will miss the feeling of being a known person around your own family. The safety of the familiarity is what you lose. The comfort of the language spoken without thinking, you will lose. The ease of belongingness is gone now, and over time something interesting happens. You build new routines, new grocery stores, new coffee shops, new friends, new weekend habits, but you quietly grieve the old ones. Not dramatically, not loudly, just very quietly. There are guys from Vijayawada who miss their punugulu, right? There are guys from Hyderabad who miss their biryanis or chaats, right? So you will miss all of these things, but just quietly, and you will reimagine with the what's around you in the new ecosystem. The invisible identity shift, it happens for every immigrant. One of the biggest things people don't talk about is identity actually. See, back home, maybe you are a top student, you are a known professional, a social connector, or a more successful one. When you move abroad, sometimes you start from zero. Yeah, you have some background skills from education and from your job skills and all, but sometimes you actually start from zero when you completely get into a new ecosystem. You may take a smaller role, you may struggle with an accents, you may misunderstood or misunderstand the cultural cues, you may feel very less confident. So you are rebuilding the credibility, and that can feel like ego death. But here is the truth. The growth costs comfort actually. See, the version of you that existed in your home country was built in one environment. The version of you that emerges abroad is forged under the pressure. See, the pressure actually creates a lot more depth in you. There is a system shocks first of all to begin with. A different accents, different systems, different taxations, a different healthcare systems, different school systems, different pricing. Every grocery shopping feels very different. You have to think more, you have to learn more, you can't operate on an autopilot mode. And the mental fatigue is real for for 6 to 8 months or 1 year. It takes about 2 to 5 years for many immigrants to truly feel settled. See, nobody tells you that. They show you the success stories, they don't show you the adjustments curve which one lives through those 5 years. So the question is, was it worth it? See, at some point, usually during a hard week, you will ask, was this a right move? The question doesn't mean you regret your move. It simply means you are a human. Say, big decisions come with big emotions. But here is something powerful. You didn't move just to escape something. You moved to become something, and that's what matters. When you move abroad, reinvention of you happens in a real time. See, people who move abroad are not just chasing money. They are reinventing themselves in the real time. There is no map, no guarantees, no fixed outcome, just a hope, just a belief, just a courage. And the courage doesn't feel like confidence. Courage feels like fear, but moving anyway. When you leave your home country, you are choosing discomfort voluntarily. That's the strength actually. The emotional phases of moving abroad, let's talk about the phases many actually go through. The excitement phase. See, everything feels new, fresh, exciting to begin with, but the reality phase, paperwork for the visa stamping, stress, loneliness, and the financial pressure, especially when you move from a developing country to a developed country. A doubt phase, a dilemma, was this move a mistake? Then it happens an adaptation phase. You go through a new routines, a new confidence. Integration phase is mostly you feel in between, not fully here and not fully there. Na ghar ka na ghat ka. So that in between space is powerful actually. So you develop empathy, you understand two different worlds, you understand two different cultures, two different cuisines and whatnot, right? So you become more adaptable than most people around you. So this resilience in immigrants is built over time. See, when you move abroad, you develop emotional resilience, you develop a financial discipline, a cultural intelligence, independence, and a strategic thinking. You learn to navigate uncertainty in your life, you learn to handle rejection, you learn to build something from scratch, you learn to delay the gratification. All these things transforms you. So you are no longer just a person from one place. You are a global thinker. The courage you will see one day. See, one day when you look back, see, not at the fear, but at the courage. You will remember the airport goodbye. You will remember the very first lonely apartment. You will remember the very first paycheck. The very first friend or roommate. The very first breakthrough. And then you will realize you choose growth over a comfort. That's rare. Important truth, it's not for everyone. That's the most important truth. Moving abroad is not automatically a better choice for everyone. For some, staying home is a right choice. For others, leaving is a right choice. So neither is a superior, but if you choose to move, do it very consciously. Don't move because of the societal pressure. Don't move because of the comparison. Move because you are ready for expansion. Advice for those who are considering moving abroad. Make sure you are building skills before you move. Please read the country which you are going to visit. Make sure you understand what is the job market there, what type of skills they are looking for in the job market. Save more money than you think. Prepare very emotionally, not just financially too. Stay connected to the home, but build roots where you are. Accept that you will feel alone sometimes. Focus on the long-term growth and not the short-term discomfort. See, the end of the day, moving abroad is an act of self-belief. It's saying something like, I am willing to leave what's comfortable to discover what's possible. That's most powerful thing actually. See, you didn't just move to escape something. You move to expand, you move to challenge yourself, you move to become a stronger person. And maybe, just maybe, you become someone better. Not better than others, just better than your previous self. So if you are listening to this and if you are missing home, if you are questioning your decision of your move, if you feel invisible and feeling tired, I want you to remember something. This phase is actually shaping you. Growth is uncomfortable. Expansion is uncomfortable. Reinvention is uncomfortable. But the comfort never created transformation. Courage is the one which will create a transformation. And one day when someone asks you how you did it, you will smile because you will know it wasn't easy, it wasn't guaranteed, but it was brave, right? For me, near to 13 years in US, when someone asks me how you did it, I can just tell a story. How was the initial first month? How was the very first rental car? How was the very first buying a new car experience in 4 months? Right? How was the leasing a first apartment on my own after first month in US? So you can really tell each of those individual incidents or your individual life experiences as a stories. But as I said, because you know it was, because now after 10 years or 15 years you realize it wasn't easy, it wasn't guaranteed, but it was a brave move. That's the reason why you're standing still high in the ground. That is all for this week. See you again. Do let me know in comments or reply me over email to share what is your view on this post. So share, like, subscribe, whatever these days kid says. Stay connected, share ideas, and spread happiness. Bye bye.